Hey, Statesman Nation, we are back here at Wood Iron Grill with another great week of guests. Our first guest with us here tonight is head coach of men's lacrosse, Luke Christiansen. Coach, thank you for joining us. So you guys started off your season, you're 2-1 right now. Can you just kind of talk about how the season's been going so far in the early stages?
Yeah, so 2-1 currently. We just got back from a road trip to Tennessee, and we split our games there. So we had a game against Tennessee Wesleyan. Tennessee Wesleyan, very solid and kind of historical NAI lacrosse program, and 15 goal win against a receiving votes team. So that's a very solid win for us. A good statement, beating a solid Appalachian Athletic Conference team. And then, we played Kaiser, the reigning national champions, the next day and lost in overtime. So that's unfortunate, a game that we probably should have won and, we had the opportunity to win. But ultimately, situations like that, it's kind of a great learning experience because now we've been in that championship environment, championship type game, and we can take those lessons and learn from, okay, hey, when these situations arise, this is how we need to respond to win championships.
Yeah, and so just kind of talking about that Kaiser win, or Kaiser loss, excuse me. How did the team feel after that one? I mean, it has to be kind of a confidence booster knowing that you can hang around with the number one team in the country.
Yeah, it's a confidence booster because, yes, they're the reigning national champs. They're the number one team in the country. There's a reason why you play them. But it's also like a huge sour taste in our mouth because the game was there. We should have won the game. The refs made some really egregious calls, ultimately the most egregious calls I've seen in my 15-year career. So to have that taste is a very beneficial element because I think now throughout the rest of the season we go with a pretty kind of hungry mindset where we know that we should have won. We know that we had the opportunity and we don't kind of read our own clippings. And so that's what we're trying to preach to the guys is, hey, we have the talent, but we need to really kind of buckle down and, embrace the suck and embrace the sour of that situation.
Yeah, and so coming off that, you guys traveled to St. Louis this weekend. You'll be taking on Lords. What should we be expecting out of that game, and what have you guys been preparing for?
In all honesty, I have zero clue what to expect of Lords. They have a new coach, a lot of roster turnover, so we're preparing like we could see anything. And so we're preparing just of executing our game at the highest level and be prepared for anything because literally that could be the situation.
And then just coming off that, can you kind of talk about the team chemistry this year? I know we talked before, and you have a lot of guys returning to the team, and so has that chemistry just kind of picked up from where it left off last season?
Yeah, I think our chemistry is at an all-time high, both as far as X's and O's and as far as just overall team camaraderie. So we're seeing that. We're seeing, an increased chemistry as far as the offense goes, guys knowing the system, knowing, how to execute with one another. Like we see that at our attack. There's a lot more continuity with all four of our attackmen, the rotating there, so that they know how to execute with one another. And then our midfield actually had its best chemistry that we've seen this past weekend in a long time. So that's something that I think we can really build upon. Of that midfield chemistry is something that's lacked, and so seeing that grow should give us a lot of increased expectations.
Yeah, and I was looking today and I saw that Breck, he leads the NAI in assists right now. So can you just kind of talk about how he's been as a leader and his hot start that he's gotten off to?
Yeah, he last year broke the regular season assist record for the NAI, and he's on pace to break his own record again. And so the more he can quarterback and facilitate the offense, the better. Last season, when we started the season, he tried to do everything on his own as far as scoring. And so it's a breath of fresh air to kind of see him come in and really more facilitate rather than just trying to do everything himself. And so I think that's a big indicator of our success is that he's quarterbacking the system, and he's going out and getting his goals, but more than anything he's taking care of the ball and facilitating.
All right, well, good luck this weekend, Coach. Thank you for joining us here, and we'll be right back here at the Wood Iron Grill. Welcome back. We are sitting down here with Coach Mike Laird, coach of the baseball team. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
So you guys started for your weekend last weekend. You kind of want to give a recap of how that weekend went for your team?
Well, not really, because we went 1-3, but no, we were literally in every game. They were close enough. Could have won a couple pretty easily. We just did not execute at the right time. We out-hit one team about 10-5 and had a whole bunch of singles and no timely hits, and then we lose by 2 runs. So, but you know, we've got quite a few new guys. We also have a couple guys that were all conference returning from last year, and they really struggled, to be honest about it. You know, guys that were hitting 400 last year, and they're had a hit the whole weekend, and so yeah, we're slowly. We got to get it. We're putting it together. We'll be fine. We'll be all right.
So coming off that weekend, like you said, got to put a few things together. What did you see out of your team that can maybe be improved, and what things did you see that you liked after the first weekend?
Well, again, I've said this a lot. We have a very strong culture. We have a good mix of returners, and new guys. And pitching, we had a couple guys that stepped up and did a nice job there that we hadn't seen. Our infield's going to be very strong. We did have, for whatever reasons, we had about 3 outfield errors, and that's just a faux pas, in any level of baseball. So that hurt us one game quite a bit, but we're gonna be all right. The biggest thing that we're gonna have to overcome probably is we have a ridiculous schedule coming up, and we need some wins to get some confidence with all these new guys. But we're gonna be right there. We're gonna be right there. We could be pretty good.
Talking about those new guys, what do you see out of them? I know it was like for some of them first games this weekend, so how do you feel like they did?
A lot of them did well. It's a different level, whether they came in from high school or junior college. It's definitely a different level. The teams that we played this weekend are kind of middle of the road teams, so we expected to do a little bit better. But some of the teams we've got coming up, they're very good. They're national qualifying type teams. So, but yeah, they stepped up. Got new guys at first, second, third base, catcher, and right field, and then a couple arms too on the hill. So quite a few. It's about a 50-50 split on that.
And you talked about you have a few tough teams coming up. Can you kind of tell us what to prepare for this next weekend, the games that you guys have coming?
Well, we got to refine things. We've been doing the right things, but I don't think we've probably had enough opportunities to really clean some things up. And it's been a little tricky with the weather. It's also been a little tricky with our facility being available a couple times. So it's indoor-wise. And so, yeah, we got some good work done this week. We got outside a couple times. Talking to the guys, just keeping their focus there. We're playing baseball, for crying out loud. Most guys would want to play baseball. Most guys want to take their spot. Be happy about that, stay focused. It's going to come. It'll come around. But we've got some good players, good returners. Like I said, we've got some really good new guys. And I think when we click, we could be pretty darn good. I really do.
So talking about those new guys and returners, how has the team chemistry been so far, like this early into the season?
The team chemistry is very good. It's real good. The culture last year was very good, and that's what probably helped carry us the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season when we kind of got hot and got into the conference tournament and beat some really good teams, won a lot of close games, played very good baseball. So that a little bit of that's a carryover. But we've got several guys, like I said, several infielders and catchers that are kind of new to William Penn. And, I don't want to start naming a lot of names because I'm afraid I'll forget a couple guys, but they're totally bought in. They're fully engaged with trying to, do what we want to do. And ultimately, winning's not the most important thing, but it is pretty important. That's why we have a scoreboard. So, but we've got some good guys. We got to survive these next couple weekends because we play about 6 teams in a row that were in the national tournament last year, and that could get to be a grind if we're not careful. So I gotta watch what I say and pat guys on the back because it's going to get tougher before it gets easier. But we're in a growing phase as well, I think. And I think when we get it, we mature a little bit more, I think we're going to be pretty good. I don't know how, if that means real good, but obviously one of our goals is to get back to the national tournament. And that's a pretty lofty goal for most teams.
Yeah, especially is. And again, thank you for joining us out here, and good luck this weekend with your 4 games you guys have. We'll be right back here on the Wood Iron Grill. Welcome back here to Wood Iron Grill as we have our last guest of the night, Coach Laura North of the William Penn softball team. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dylan.
So to start off here, you guys have a 6-4 record currently, 10 games so far. What have you seen and what have you liked out of the team?
I really like their competitiveness. They've prepared really well, and you can teach them a lot, and you can take all the reps. But it really comes down to when they get out there, are they going to perform? Are they going to compete? And so that's been just really exciting how they've gone out and they've really just taken every opportunity to compete with every team that we've faced. So that's been really awesome.
And so off of that, you guys, I saw a stat the other day posted that you guys have 94 hits in 10 games. Can you kind of talk about the success of your hitting so far early in the season?
Yeah, well, it's really cool because we've played a lot of kids. So those 94 hits are scattered over, about 12 to 15 kids, really. So we've spent a lot of time in the cage. We're fortunate to have, our 3 cages and have our indoor facility. My assistant coach, Katie Grogan, has just done a fantastic job of preparing them. And we've just worked really hard at, the sophisticated approach to hitting and really explained to them how to be successful at the plate. And they've really adjusted well to the different kinds of pitching. We've seen some pitchers that are throwing it really hard. We've also seen some junk pitchers, and so making that adjustment this early in the season has been really key. We're still striking out a little too much, but this week we worked on just situational hitting and taking advantage of when runners are on base and getting those timely hits. But from the first weekend to the second weekend, we've made tremendous progress on that. But they're really hungry for being aggressive at the plate, but also just having the confidence to know that they can hit really any pitcher. So it's been really fun to see them. But big props to my assistant Katie on her work with them, with our hitters. So.
Yeah, big props to her. And along that with those hitters, you've had a couple new faces that provided some big time at bats for you guys. You want to talk about them for a little while?
Yeah. So we've had some. Bree Talamontes is our first baseman, and she was out last year with a concussion, so she hadn't played at all for a full year. And first weekend she struggled. She kind of had some performance anxiety going on, but she really came out this last weekend and really killed it. It was really fun to see her perform because we knew she could. She'd been doing it in practice, so that's been really fun. And then we've got a couple of freshmen, Peyton Naranjo and Crystal Warren, who've been kind of sharing the left field spot. Two true freshmen have come out and really just stepped up and shown a lot of courage at the plate, so that's been really fun. And then behind the plate, LJ Smith, her stats don't look that great, but she is crushing the ball. The fields that we've been playing on have really deep fences, and they're the ball's hitting the roof, and I think she'd probably have 2 or 3 home runs right now if she wouldn't have hit the top of the dome. So she's really hitting the ball on the line and just right 2 people, but she's a true freshman as well. She's really hitting the ball really hard, and they've really stepped up and done a good job. And just our returners are really finding a way to get the ball in play. Charlie Gagushas, actually we turned her around from right to left this year. She's a senior, and she really struggled last year just seeing the ball and getting on base, and so we turned her around. She's had some experience going from the left side, and she's seeing the ball really well. Even if she's not hitting it, she's drawing a lot of walks, putting the ball in play, and she's a tough out from the left side, so she's getting on base, putting pressure on the defense. And so that's been, even like I said, our returners are doing a great job. Nye Martinez, the first weekend she was like 10 for 15. This last weekend she was just as good. So she's just in a groove right now. And so all around we're getting a lot of people on base and hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, good to see Nye. I saw her eye the other day. Good to see that swelling is going down. If you want to share that story.
Yeah, so it was our fourth game of the weekend, and it was just a freak accident. She was swinging at an inside pitch, and when she came around, it ricocheted off of her bat and hit her in the eye. And thankfully, no fracture. Her eyeball is fine. She's got a really big shiner, and but she's already back to practicing. She's one of the toughest kids I've ever met. She had a full count. She was battling off pitches. I think she had battled off like 4 pitches and drew a full count. And she was so upset because I wouldn't let her finish the at bat because I knew she was going to get a hit. But so we brought in Alexis Price with a full count, 2 outs, and she hit the ball on the line and she was out. But yeah, Nye's just the toughest nails, and she's already back practicing. So she wasn't going to let it keep her down for too long. So.
Good that she's back practicing.
Yeah.
So with that, you guys have another road trip coming up here. Can you kind of talk about what you're expecting out of the team and your expectations for the weekend?
Yeah, well, we're kind of taking the season in different stages, and February is just really our getting experience and going out and competing. And so we'll finish up 14 games here in February and finishing up this weekend. I really want to see them just continue to learn, continue to compete. We're going to play tough competition again. We get to see St. Xavier again, who we had lost to this last weekend. They're ranked number 24. We've had them twice this weekend, so another good competition. Really, there's no letdowns here, no let up on the tough schedule. So I really just want them to keep getting better and learning, and they know that our focus is on our conference, the regular season and conference tournament, and trying to get that tournament, but taking advantage of every game that we play to get better and compete. And we're still trying to put all the puzzle pieces together, but I'm really proud of the effort that they've shown. And girls coming in after they hadn't played for the first weekend came in and really performed this last weekend, and you never know when you're going to have an opportunity. So they've done a really great job of that, and just different kids stepping up at certain times. And I'm looking for them to continue to do that and go out and compete and, hopefully get some more wins. So.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us here, and good luck this weekend. We want to also mention before we get out of here that we have the Track and Field Heart Championships on Friday, along with the Men's Wrestling Heart Championships, and then a bunch of other games this weekend, including basketball and lacrosse. So make sure you tune in to Statesmen Sports Network and tune into our William Penn Athletics accounts as we thank you once again for joining us here at Wood Iron Grill.